So Africa's biggest bank by asset valuation says when push comes to shove, all South Africans rally together to support the country's growth story. The bank's Deputy Group CEO Kenny Fihla shared his observations as crafted in a message at the World Economic Forum, where the country is competing with other markets to attract investments. Newzroom Afrika's business editor Xolani Mbanjwa caught up with him.
Newzroom Afrika has interacted with a number of international delegates from Canada to Asia and the African continent, and there seems to be some consensus about the unity when it comes to South Africa, Team South Africa, and the delegation and its message here at the World Economic Forum. I'm joined by somebody who actually operates in a global space. Kenny Fihla is Standard Bank Group Deputy Chief Executive Officer and the Standard Bank South Africa Chief Executive. Thank you very much, Mr. Fihla, for your time. It's quite an interesting time to be here at the World Economic Forum, interacting with a Canadian lady. Earlier on, she was talking about how the South African delegation from business and government, it's such something interesting to see how they have one message. Is that helpful for a conglomerate, a corporate like yourselves that is operating from Asia to Africa and so many other markets?
Absolutely. I think there's something special about South Africans in that when it comes to the push, we'll always act in the best interest of the country, which then becomes the best interest of our own organizations and institutions. And there is no doubt that when we have alignment across different stakeholders, government and business, we are all pulling in the same direction, that the impact and the rate of change will be significantly quicker. There is no doubt that when South Africa succeeds, business succeeds. When business succeeds, South Africa succeeds, because jobs are created, the economy is growing, and ultimately the contribution to national taxes is also much higher. So it is something amazing, something that must be cherished, and something that must be continued into the future.
Let's talk about the geopolitical nature of things now when it comes to how what is happening elsewhere in the world has an impact on the discussions here and what is happening back home in South Africa and the markets where you operate. How important is it to meet here as leaders from around the world to craft a message and to craft a response to these geopolitical challenges, be it on tariffs, be it on climate change? How important is it for that to happen when we meet here?
It's absolutely critical. Many of the issues that the world is facing are issues that are caused in one geography affecting the other, or in one region and it affects all other regions. So there's an interdependence. And therefore, in finding solutions to these global issues, the world ought to talk. Different nations must be aligned, and there must be a common set of principles that we all align to and things that we are agreed to, and we start to implement against those. Climate change cannot be solved by one country. All the countries need to act in tandem. Global peace cannot be solved by one country. All the countries ought to act in tandem. But there is no doubt that there are certain challenges that the globe is facing. We think that these challenges will materialize over a period of time, but nonetheless, we think some of them may not necessarily be as worse as we fear. So for South Africa and for an organization like Standard Bank, we ought to do our own scenario planning and have alternative plans that if this happens, this is how we'll react.
Mr. Fihla, thank you so much for your time. That's the common message I have actually gleaned here, to say that what is good not for corporates from South Africa is also very good for the country itself, which is why the message is always important, that you don't sell the country short wherever you go in the world. For Newzroom Afrika on channel 405, I'm Xolani Mbanjwa at the Congress Center in Davos, Switzerland.